What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Hour right here, presented first by adfreeshows.com. If you're watching this on a Wednesday or a Thursday, chances are you're on adfreeshows.com, so we want to thank you right off the bat for all your support over there. And of course, thank you to Ad Free Shows. On Friday, you'll be able to catch us on the MyFandom YouTube channel. It is Dave Sturchio. It is Josh Shernoff. The last we spoke was right before Survivor Series. We had ourselves some fun with some fans. We had a live pre-show, which was awesome. I think it went relatively well, Josh. Yes?
Yeah, I think it was awesome. We had a lot of fun. Had great turnout, too. A lot of, I think a lot of the ad-free shows community came on by, which we really appreciate. And just a lot of fun being able to interact. So much so that you and I, we're like, man, we need to figure out how to do this more with this show. Yeah, the Wrestling Hour needs a little more interaction. So
I think, you know what? Look, I'm always brainstorming things. It's just part of my makeup. It's part of how I am as an entrepreneur. I'm sure you're the same way. I am thinking about things like I understand it gets late, and typically I like to partake in some edibles to try to go to sleep. So it would probably be a little bit of a shit show, but maybe a post
would be great.
Or a post Raw or a post SmackDown kind of thing where we can kind of break down what we just watched live with the community. Yeah. I don't know. There's just different things we can do. I think the show has evolved significantly since we started.
Yeah.
We started back at Chop Studios, and
I will say I still miss that. I miss there's nothing like being in person. I mean, this is pretty much as close as you can get, without doing it. I think it's, we're looking at each other right now. It's good. But man, being in the studio was so much fun, and it just had such a great feel. I think this is awesome. But yeah, I started brainstorming too. I think that it's just kind of how you and I are. We're never satisfied, right? Which I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
No, absolutely. Absolutely is a good thing.
We're never satisfied, and we constantly want to.
Who's to say we can't get back in studio for an episode or two? You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. I think at some point it's going to happen. I started thinking to myself, I'm like, well, what if we do, now that I watch the pay-per-views or premium live events, my apologies. Now that I watch the premium live events,
I will never call it a premium live event.
I know. It's just, it's not going to happen. It's not going to
It ain't going to.
Stop trying to make it a thing.
What was the other one that there was something. It's like when you rename an arena that's been famous forever, and you're like,
I'm sorry, the Staples Center is the Staples Center.
CVV is big on that. Like he keeps saying something like whatever they used to call it in Toronto,
Skydome.
Skydome.
Yeah. Aren't they going back there? Is it now the Rogers Center? Or is that a different thing?
I don't know.
I thought they're going to the Rogers. Whatever it is, it's the Skydome.
Like the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. Didn't they change their name?
Mid-Hudson Civic Center's changed to something, I think. And as far as I'm concerned, January 4th, we're working the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. So
yes, that's what I'm talking about. And I've done such a deep dive on the history there. Like, man, there's some
Miss Elizabeth's debut as Macho Man's manager.
That's insane.
I'll show you the door where she walked out of. Because I got the tour many years ago in 1999. My first thing I ever did in wrestling that was a paid gig, first event I ever went to and worked in any form or fashion. I pretty much carried Bill Apter's bags and got Rob Van Dam coffee. It was ECW Hardcore Heaven 99. I'll never forget it. Lots of cream, lots of sugar. That's what I thought. Fonzie told me, or asked me, can you get him some coffee? I said, yeah, how does he want it? Lots of cream, lots of sugar. Which, to me, at 15 years old, I'm going, okay, but what does that mean, right? Because lots of cream...
I just started drinking coffee like 2 years ago. So, I'm
well, I wasn't really drinking coffee. Maybe I was at 15. I don't know. But I wasn't really drinking coffee back then. But I still knew enough to know, okay, I know cream and sugar. Van Dam is drinking coffee back then, obviously, and this is what he's having right before he goes out. And I'm probably having a little something else too. But lots of cream, lots of sugar. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, is that 3 packs of sugar? Is that... when he says lots, does he mean 5? Am I going to fill it with 5 packs of sugar? He comes back and goes, dude, I wanted some coffee with my sugar. I was so panicked by that. But anyway.
A lot of history there. we were talking about premium live events, but yeah, so we can go back to that and there's things we can have a watch party. I think somebody suggested we do like a watch party, a watch along, maybe in studio, right? And we can
invite some,
yeah.
So that's been something where I started thinking, I'm like, well, okay, how can I do this and then be back in time? It's an hour and a half away. Be back in time to watch the event with my kids. I'm like, well, that's not really going to work.
Just tell your kids, hey, listen, it's a special Sunday morning.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll figure it out. But no, I mean, we'll definitely figure it out. All I know right now is ad-free shows loved it. And if I were a betting man, I would say get ready for February 1st, folks.
Is that Royal Rumble?
That's the Royal Rumble. And I think, ad-free shows apparently wants us back for another pre-show.
I'll make you a deal on the Royal Rumble, which is my favorite event of all, the entire year. I think it's everybody's favorite event at this point.
Yep.
It's like one of those things where it's like a community comes together. Even if like a couple years back you kind of walked into the Rumble and you're like, dude, Cody's winning. It doesn't matter who's in this thing. You know what I mean? Like, because you just figured you knew. This year, I feel like the pool is like ridiculously big.
No idea who's going to win.
No, like it's just so many ways you can go about it. But if I can get the internet rectified over at Chop Studios, which has always been the trip up for me to go live at my own studio, which is ridiculous. But if I can get that shored up, we could do a pre-show, obviously before it, live in studio, and then we can do a watch along with a couple select people to come and watch the Rumble, and then possibly do a post-show after that. We can make it a whole big thing.
We could. We got to figure it out. I know Ad-Free Shows is going to be doing Top Guy Weekend, so I started already brainstorming for you guys listening now. That's for the Rumble. They're doing Top Guy Weekend. They'll be down in, are they going to be down in Huntsville? But whatever the case is, I know Efren will be there doing, the game event for the Rumble, which he did last year. Somebody won $1,000. Like, it's insane. So I started thinking to myself, well, what if we're doing it just from the streaming standpoint? And maybe there's a way we can bring Efren in with, from his phone. We can bring Efren in or in some way that Efren can have various ad-free shows members pop in or something. I'm brainstorming. I mean, it's going on in my head.
Will we live in a world where Efren can tag up with Effie? It's some kind of crazy thing.
I think we live in that world. I don't know if we're allowed to put that on the air.
We can do whatever we want here on the Wrestling Hour. But anyway, listen.
Two guys, similar names, both guys I think the world of. So,
yeah.
What?
Super gay.
What's that?
I said they're super gay too. It's great.
Are they?
It's like.
So anyway, fun fact about, and this is, I don't know how this is going to be received, but
here we go.
I've had this song for whatever reason. The song from the South Park movie stuck in my head for like a week.
Everybody has AIDS?
No, from the movie. I'm super. Thanks for asking.
Oh, that's Mr. Garrison, right? Or something?
No. I think it was it Big Gay Al?
It was Big Gay Al.
Yeah.
You're right.
And I've had that stuck in my head, and it's like the more I thought about the song, the more I was like, wow, these lyrics really can't be like you can't sing this to yourself.
No, you
and really having nothing to do with the gay aspect of it. That's not inappropriate. It's I'm so sorry, Mr. And then go look that up, folks.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen.
Anyway.
South Park episode. Yeah. It's a South Park episode, and that's okay. But listen, going back to what we were talking about before, we've tried a million different things so far, and there's more to come going forward in 2025 as we get, I guess the next thing we're really getting ready for is happening in 10 days, and that's Saturday night's main event live in Long Island. I really wish there was a way that either way of us either covering it or going. I mean, but the holiday, it's very hard to do a lot of things during the holidays.
Yeah.
Especially when you got kids at home and they want to go do the holiday thing every weekend, and that's the only time you could do it. So it's just,
I guess tell us, folks, send us a message if you want to go on the old X It's at the Wrestling HR. That's where you file your complaints. And
we don't.
And then file your complaints about everything we just talked about.
HR about the HR.
And then on Instagram, I guess you can't really I guess you could message us.
Slide into those DMs. But
whatever it is, let us know. Let us know what you want. I'm at Shernoff. He's at Dave Sturchio. And let us know. Would you guys like us to do something for Saturday night's main event? We could. Maybe.
Listen, it's heating up, and we could dive right into it. Survivor Series comes and goes. War Games, right? And I believe I won the Styrofoam championship belt with my
We've talked about there's going to be some sort of a championship, and it won't be any. I was going to say, it won't be any of the championships behind me. And this is going to start off, I think we should have a little kids toy belt that we can, which will inevitably end up in me calling Wildcat belts and being like, hey, man, we need to,
I know. We should absolutely go on eBay and try to get one of them old styrofoam ones. But knowing Josh and his belt crave, and craze and just obsession, I know he's going to get something custom made. But
at some point,
maybe for Hanukkah, you can get yourself a little gift, right?
The Hanukkah championship. I get that as well. Yeah, I think I'll. What?
That's a perfect way to win the championship. The Hanukkah championship should be announced. The winner of this match and Jew. Dude, that's perfect. Man. No, not.
I think the Jewish and gay communities are both offended by this show.
Everything we've said so. Yes. I want to preface this by saying my bonus mom Barry is a Shebrew. She is a Jewish, and we celebrate Hanukkah, and it's great. I love it. It's all good. So everybody, I can't believe you said that. Before you get all nasty on me,
that's the most I have a cousin who's so one of those
racist.
Well, I can't be racist. I mean, I have look who cuts my grass. I can't, just inappropriate.
Very. All right, let's Survivor Series War Games, right?
Yeah.
I had
Speaking
my
of
picks.
racist,
right. I've had my picks. I won the picks only by a match. I think. It was
I think only by one match. What? I don't remember which one it was, but there was. The Intercontinental title.
Yes, I said Braun would retain.
I thought Sheamus had it in the bag.
Start with that, I guess we could say, because man, oh man, there was one set. I say set one spot. There you go, spot in the match.
Yeah,
where there was a lot of shit going on the outside. It was Kaiser and it was Sheamus, and they were doing something on the outside. But from out of frame comes jumping in Braun Breaker, and I'm what? Where did he come?
And then they show the replay where you're like, okay, now I'll see. And it's no, I still don't understand where he came from. How is this even remotely possible?
From the heavens, this guy comes out of nowhere flying. Braun Breaker is a freakish athlete. I think if I had to break it down, and we love Braun, friend of the show. We had him on the SummerSlam weekend. Very cool, down-to-earth guy. But I think he's very reserved.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's more left in the tank when it comes to character development. I know there is, because I don't think he's only scratching the surface so far with the way he can speak, right? There's a very big mix. If you shut your eyes and you listen, there's a lot of Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner in there. There is, right?
Absolutely.
And I know he wants to create his own legacy, and that's great, but he also showed up to War Games with a Scott Steiner Big Papa Pump t-shirt. So it's he's acknowledging the idea.
I mean, his whole gear looked,
right.
Is a callback to,
Yeah, he looked like a Steiner brother. And I think that his just demeanor, his athletic ability, we've said it already on this show, he is a future world champion. There is no doubt in my mind that that's going to be a thing. But what he delivered there in a triple threat match, and triple threat matches to me are the hardest matches to really call, because there's always got to be you'll get your double team spot.
Be in as well.
That's what I'm saying. Call and be in. I'm not even saying call. I'm talking call in the back. Okay, now you do this, you do that, and you do this. And it's
some of us call it in the ring, but that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, brother. But there's ways you can like I said, there's always like those double teams, like, oh, they're working together, but don't forget, only one man can win. You know what I mean? Like they're doing all that shit, and that's all good. But like I said, for such a difficult match to call, to be in, to participate in, Braun Breaker just shattered that glass ceiling, if there is one. In that match.
I thought I wouldn't even call it a breakout performance because he's been just doing these every time he gets in the ring. I think he's just getting better and better. And I don't think people realize sometimes, like, if you go back in the day, even, the famed Attitude Era, or like some of these guys that were quote unquote new had been in the business for like 8 years and had been on all these territories. And it was a totally different time. Braun Breaker, man, he's still so new. Like, I'm not discounting any of what he did in NXT or any of the training he's had. I'm not going to say, oh, he's green and doesn't, like that. I don't mean it like that. I mean, he is just scratching the surface. Like, we've talked before about reps, right? Like, you have to have a certain amount of reps to get good. There's the 10,000 hours, right? Or something is the term of, like, to really become an expert in something. The guy just, no matter how good he is, the amount of time you put into something does equal your ability when it comes to pro wrestling, at least. And just, it's scary almost how when you realize, like, this dude, like this, which is considered like the finished package for some people, this is like a green Braun Breaker. Like, right. I think that when you fast forward 10 years, and I know 10 years sounds like a long time, but think about some of these guys now. Think about 20 plus years, of Randy Orton and guys that 10 years from now, Braun Breaker, holy crap, man. Like, if he can stay healthy, what is he going to be? Like, hitting the ropes at like 60 miles per hour? By that, like, it's crazy.
The saying is that the athletes nowadays, given modern medicine and given the natural ability and stuff, are stronger, bigger, and faster, right? And that's that true story. Great documentary, by the way, or I think it was called Bigger, Stronger, Faster.
Stronger, Faster, yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, like guys like Braun Breaker, they just have it, and that's not something that can be said about a lot of guys, whether you're on the independents or some guys get called up. Look, what's this guy? Gabe Stevenson, right? Or Stevenson or something, the Olympic guy. He came in there.
Whatever.
To that effect, right? He came in there and just it didn't click for him. He's an all-world athlete, but it just didn't click. The same thing I thought about. I remember the legitimate day that I was in training and like brand new, maybe like I think it's probably like October.
So maybe like this isn't clicking for me. It's just never gonna happen.
Well, that too. But 5 months in, we're doing chain wrestling. I think Hurricane Sandy just absolutely blew apart our training facility. So like we were doing a lot of mat work for a little while. So it was like October, November, whenever that was. And I remember there was a young, strapping, good-looking lad who walked into training, and I'm watching him immediately, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like there is no way I'm going to get on his level. And that young man was named Anthony Bowens, right? He walked into training, and I'm like, guy looks like $1 million. I mean, he looks better now, but like even when he walked in, back in 2012,
you were 13, drooling. You were like, oh my God,
dude. I was like, dude, this kid is unbelievable, right? And like. And I said it right away. I'm like, it's not if with him. No way. It's when. Like when this guy gets signed and when this guy. So and he's brand new to me. Like even now, like his run with AEW and the the Scissor, the Acclaimed, right? Like all that stuff. Even Max Caster, same deal. He came in like piss and vinegar. I remember when I remember he was my supervisor at Sirius XM, and he asked me, he's like, where can I go to train? I'm like, oh, you go over there.
He's an interesting one because I don't think he has the I don't think he has the future that Bowens has. That's not to say he doesn't have a future. Max Caster, though, I don't think is. Yeah, there's always the one that might get a little bit better. I think he's great, but I think there's Anthony Bowens. I think has it. He has that it factor, which is funny because behind the scenes, you might think in talking to them that the one who on camera is going to break out more would be Caster. And that sounds like I'm knocking him. I'm not knocking him. Dude's fantastic. I'm just saying, I think it's crazy, when you look at it. Like, I don't think people realize how good Bowens is.
No, and I don't think he gets the. I
guess that's what I'm trying to say. Caster, I think people realize, and maybe it's because of the rapping and because I think they look at me like, oh man, he's great. And I think that Bowens sometimes was seen as like and then there's also Anthony
because
Bowens,
again, like you get the whole freestyle out of him, and then all of a sudden you get one line out of Bowens. Right. It's like, hey, scissor me, daddy. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, like we get it. That's your line, that's your shtick. But I would pump the brakes on thinking that one is not. I don't want to say better, like has more brighter of a future than the other, because, and I'm not comparing the two at all. But like, just remember. There was a young man named the Prototype who, found his way because he started rapping. And that man was John Cena, right? And I'm not saying like, oh, the Caster's the same as John Cena. It's going to happen. We don't know that, but we also don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. And I probably said it wrong, and then I'll get a bunch of heat for it. But I think he's very good at what he does. Deceivingly large. Deceptively, I should say. Deceptively large.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy. So anyway, we're off on a beaten path here. Braun Breaker, excellent finish to that one. Sheamus, like I said, maybe that moment comes at a WrestleMania moment or something like that to close out his.
It'll be another Clash of the Castle or something.
Something to that
effect.
Like to
do their hometown people. They'll
and you know what? Sometimes that works. Just look at fucking Bad Bunny, right? Yeah. Everything worked in Puerto Rico. And Drew McIntyre and, all these guys. But anyway, that match was great. World title match, Damian Priest and Gunther. Now, it's getting a little, I don't want to say not heat. That's not the right word. It's getting a lot of dud response on the world title match. I think that the wrestling purist kind of enjoyed it. Like, I'm looking at it. There's a lot of really, really great chain wrestling.
Gunther was still bleeding from his chest on Raw.
Right.
Like, the dude was still bleeding from his chest after because of that match.
They beat the shit out of each other, as they should. I think it was a very well done match. Again, you're not always going to get this, like, there was, and they're planting seeds, right? Finn comes out, tries to cost him the championship. And then all of a sudden Gunther's like pissed off. He's like, dude, not this way. I want to win. Like, get the fuck out of here.
It's
you know what I mean?
Do you think we're looking at more of a face turn for Gunther, or do you think we're entering into more of that shades of gray world?
You know what's funny with Gunther, and I said this on either the pre-show or last episode. I said he was like he's like one of those villains that are typecasted. Like, anytime you see this guy, he's going to be a bad guy, right? So for anybody to feel bad for a guy that called himself the Ring General, right? Like the guy who's supposed to be the best wrestler in the company, and he's a world champion. For anybody that gets sympathy for him, that's very hard. Unless there's a complete double turn where, the Judgment Day, or it's not even, the priest isn't even there anymore, but like, something has to happen in which he gets jumped or something like that, where he looks vulnerable, and then people can get behind him. Because honestly,
here's how I feel about that is it's kind of the same with Roman Reigns. Like, you watch Roman Reigns, he came back as a monster babyface. Roman hasn't changed at all. He's not cutting his promos different. He's not doing anything. He has not changed at all. He is just as much of a dick and insecure as he was before. And I love it. But Gunther, I think what we're seeing with him is that he's not, a lot of time you'll have the heel that's I'm the best, I'm the ring general, and now I'll do whatever I need to do to win. I'll just cheat and I'll be fine. And then I think what we're seeing is Gunther kind of be like, no, like I genuinely, like, when I say I'm going to win, I want to win. Like I don't want outside help. I don't want to cut corners to win. That's not who I am. And I feel like that's where you kind of get that anti-hero type thing. That's where you kind of get where people start to go like, dude, you got to respect this guy. This guy's not looking to cheat. Like, what's wrong with him? The fact that the guy believes in himself and wins. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though he's been not exactly believing in himself recently.
But like I said, and still your world champion for Raw is Gunther. And like I said, great match, I thought. The women's elimination chamber, just to kind of elimination chamber, listen to me. The women's war
women's
game.
elimination chamber.
Talk about back in March. No, the war game, they upped it from last year, I thought, as far as some of the crazy spots. Ito Sky.
Dude, how about a moonsault with your
Yeah,
arms inside a trash can? How do you do that?
I can't even, like, you don't understand. Like, I know you were maybe being that your size was a little smaller than me, but like I've jumped off the top rope in a match one time.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm
I
like,
did it every match, but yeah, it's,
yeah, well,
but it's scary as shit up there.
When I got up there, I'm just like, oh boy, like this is a little bit high, and I know what I'm doing. It was a doomsday device, so just throw a line, land on your knees, you're good, right? But like, for somebody to go up to the top of this cage.
Well, in fairness, when I would get to the top rope, my eyes were not as high up as yours were when you were on the top rope.
Fair, right? And
you were a few inches higher than I was.
But if you watch that match back, that I was like crouched like a gargoyle the entire time. Like I didn't want to stand up straight. There's no way. But like, yeah, but for her to jump backwards blindfolded, have you, right? And now
Crazy.
You are relying. This is what people don't understand about professional wrestling. If you're looking at it from the outside, and you're one of these, like, come on, man, this shit's fake. This is so stupid. Why are they doing this? The guys are in their underwear. Like, like I respectfully tell you to go fuck off, because like this is the kind of shit.
Respectfully, though.
Respectfully. So therefore, it's not as
fuck egregious. Off, sir.
Yeah, or ma'am, whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, you neck bearded weirdo. But and that goes for male or female. The backflip, I've seen it. It's horrible. Oh. The backflip from the top of the cage without having any care in the world, really. You are relying on all the women underneath you to break your fall and make sure you don't break anything, right? Like that is, it's not only just trust, it's just confidence in knowing that your dancing partner out there is going to make sure you don't die. Because let's be honest, if there's an over rotation or a mishap or a complete fail at catching, she could die. And that's not, I'm not just making that up.
No, that's not hyperbole. That's you know,
the shit that can happen. We saw what happens when, the freakest thing, the draws thing, the Owen Hart's mistake, like all of that shit. Like that shit happens in this business. And like people don't understand that. People are just like, oh, they're stomping their feet when they're punching. Right? It's like so stupid.
And Owen's probably not the best example of,
well, you know what I'm talking about.
But no, I get what you're, look at Chris Bay. Currently, and I don't know what condition he's in, and I'm not entirely sure what move it was that injured him, but it happens. I know
shit happens in this business. So if you were there to discredit what those women were able to deliver, and look, I have my
was anyone discrediting it? I thought it was great.
What I'm saying is there's probably people out there that say like, last year was better, or that was kind of weak, or whatever. There's always,
I'm sure their match was just as good.
Yeah, exactly. And I look at that, and I look at all the women in that ring. The moment that like Tiffy could have cashed in, like there was a little
that was great with both of them down, and you don't even know who she's planning to cash in. Oh God, so good.
And that's the captivating shit that goes within. It's a story within a story, and that's why pro wrestling is just so beautiful when it wants to be. Right? I know there's dog shit and there's darkness of pro wrestling, but like, man, the story.
We don't need to talk about AEW.
Right? The compelling argument. I was trying very hard.
But it's a perfect example. AEW's got the talent. They have all the talent in the world. We're just talking about Bowens and like they have all the talent in the world. It's story. It all comes down to story. And WWE's team is firing on all cylinders.
The difference is, I'll tell you the major difference here. In storytelling, I don't want to get off the beaten path here, but like the storytelling difference between WWE and AEW right now, as it can, like right now, WWE continues to build their actual story within the house. AEW wants the fan to rely on knowing a past that they may not know. Right? So like Switchblade, right? Like when he does his thing, it's like, oh, he's got a match against this guy. If you don't recall, they had a match once upon a time in 1995 at New Japan. Nobody knows that shit.
Right.
Nobody knows that. If you're a brand new casual fan or a
And
brand
that's
new fan,
right. And that's WWE will now acknowledge the past of some of these guys, which I think is really cool. But
sure.
for the but look, and here's the difference between a 5-year-old company or 6-year-old company and a 40, 50-year-old company. Like,
Not a lot of history.
Right. There isn't as much history, except there is still a lot of history now that you can you can pull from, or you can create your own history, create new history. It's look, there's some things AEW is unfairly going to be like, if WWE references something from the Bullet Club back in the day, right? People be like, oh, damn, okay, that's awesome. They're referencing it. But if AEW references something that happened in WWE with some of their guys, people are like, oh, there they are relying on WWE, and so AEW has an uphill battle in that regard. But the one thing that I'll always go back to with AEW, because I want to be fair to them, because I actually, for all the, complaining about them, I genuinely want them to be just mind-blowingly successful. I want them to be. And if you don't, then you're an asshole. Like, why would you not want more places for people to work and more entertainment?
Unless it's a sporting event where one team is going against another, for you to root against somebody's success is just, there's something wrong with you chemically, and I'm sorry.
It's weird.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry that exists.
No, it's a weird thing. Almost like hating another sports team, even though it's not even the same players as it was a year ago, and then you love the player when they come to your sports team. But anyway, but I get what you're saying, and my feeling with AEW is they're just putting out really, really bad television, really bad stories, and it's.
And I don't. Listen, I'll tell you right now, I don't go into a Wednesday night, which is when we record this show. I don't go into a Wednesday and put on AEW and go, fucking Christ. I don't do that. I put on AEW saying, I hope to God that there's something on AEW programming right now that I want to continue to watch.
They were so good in the beginning. I was such a fan of AEW.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Back to War Games.
Hey, I have this thing on my wall. Right? And if you notice me looking a little bit, I'm looking around.
Yeah, I do.
So, mother, there it is. Hold on.
What's that? The mouse?
No, I'll get another time. No. I had on my wall these, like, instead of having to, like, put a nail in, it's this, like, putty, like, to hang stuff.
Yeah.
And I hung up there by my desk here. I've got the 2-pack of myself and the Blue Meanie. Our action figure 2-pack, which I think there are like 5 left at all. Oh, I'm sorry. Does that upset you?
No, it doesn't upset me. I'm still awaiting the Josh and Dave 2-pack, but go ahead.
Yeah, keep waiting. And it's not there. I came down today and it's not there. And I'm looking like below my desk. I'm trying to see. So it apparently fell down, rolled, and is now all the way over off to the side here. I thought for a second like my kid came down and took it. But apparently it is so cold. I mean, it is colder than an Eskimo's anus. Like, it is so cold. And I think they just, like, the little putty thing, like, froze
up?
And it just fell off. That's what I was looking at. I'm like, seriously, like, how is it not here? Like, how can it not be here?
Josh isn't really paying attention to the conversation. He's worried about Blue Meanie falling.
When are we going to start recording? Oh, has this been
exactly?
Oh,
this is not the pre-show meeting that we do all the time. By the way,
I thought it was, because the pre-show meeting is when you usually go through your list of who's gay in wrestling. That's when you usually are just like, did you know?
Oh my goodness gracious! Anyway, by the way, recently signed the GCW's Hammerstein show is Effie against Allie Catch. So that's going to end. The winner of that gets a world championship opportunity the same night.
Same night.
We gotta go. We gotta be there. We gotta be there.
Listen. I can't say that I've been having some conversations. I guess I can. We're working on it, man. We're working on it. There's people have been digging what we've been doing, and I see us potentially being there. You know what I want to do though?
LFG. Go ahead.
I want to take the stairs and or elevator up to, what is it, the 10th floor or whatever it was, of the Manhattan Center. That's where they did Raw back in the day.
Oh.
Do you know that that's above the Hammerstein?
No.
It's the same
You know
building.
what's so funny? What's so funny? My wife, I showed her the trailer for now. You got to watch this shit. Like, this is like
it's great.
captivating of independent wrestling doing unbelievable things. And I showed it to her, and she said that she saw the Manhattan Center thing at the end where they're like all lined up in front of the Manhattan Center. She goes, "Oh, the Manhattan Center. It's where I had my graduation or one of my somethings, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, but Hammerstein's actually in there, the ballroom. Like it's in there." And she's like, "What?" No, it's like, yeah, there's other things you could do.
Yeah.
With
The Hammerstein, you walk in, and immediately if you walk through, there's the Hammerstein. And then if you go upstairs, I keep trying to say like the 10th floor. It might be like the 3rd, but I don't know. Whatever it is, you go upstairs, and that's where I don't know what they call the room, but it was always referred to as the Manhattan Center for WWF Raw.
You got to go there and take a picture or something.
We got to go up there. Yeah.
Anyway, back to War Games. Sorry, we keep getting off the beaten path here.
That's what people are listening to. They're here for our ADHD. That's what they're,
Exactly. I did not take my medication this morning. So, and no, I'm not on medication. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just don't. I accept who I am.
Okay.
And my manic brain. So we talked about the Intercontinental title, the women's War Games. I'm probably missing another match in there. Because I wanted to get right to the men's War Games match. I'm drawing we both said that Shinsuke was going to take the United States Championship off of LA Knight. That happened because again, LA Knight, and this is no offense to him and his little run here, but he hasn't done much for that championship. No. Shinsuke hasn't done anything since April. If you want to build this new character, but by the way, just awesome look, just an awesome
whole new
look.
Entrance and stuff. Like
everything was great. And the match ended clean. You know what I mean? Like this is what happened. He came in and he dominated, and there you go. And new United States Championship, United States champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Great match.
It's a shame he wasn't Jewish.
I know he could have said and Jew. I know.
Yeah,
but this opportunity really. I'm going to start. If I ever ring announce again for whatever reason. Yeah. I'm going to sneak one in there, and nobody's going to understand. And it's going to be like, I'm going to just nod over to you at commentary, like, got it in.
Hey, look, we've worked with ring announcers who do the Nazi salute. So, it's, I'm just saying over here.
Oh, man. Shout out to,
no. He doesn't mean to. He doesn't know he's doing it. But
no.
It
follow him on social media. Because he puts it out there in between every match. It's a thing. It's a real thing, guys. Yeah. I'm not making this shit up. But anyway, to the men's War Games match. Now, right away, there's camaraderie over on the new bloodline, and there's tension over there on the other bloodline. They're making their entrances, this, that, and the third. Like you can feel that there was tension right away, right? Mm-hmm. And that's perfect because that's what you really wanted to feel going in. But overall, what are your thoughts on the way it ended? Because what I said on Twitter right after it concluded, I went to Twitter and I said, man, that kind of left WWE Universe or WWE fans kind of like, huh? Really? Like, is it? Like there was no surprise return. There was none of that. And I know a lot of people expecting a return or of some sort, specifically you and I, nothing happened. So like, and I understand that there's people out there to say, hey man, listen, not everything needs a massive surprise, right? Like it could just be well done and be done. The one thing I could say before you get into your critique of the match, Jacob Fatu is a fucking animal. And he's going to be one of the best to ever do it when it's all said and done. Yep. That's it. That's all. And my bold statement, one of the best to ever do it when it's all said and done. Not now, not 5 years from now, but when his career is over, we're going to talk about Jacob Fatu as being one of the best coming from that bloodline.
Absolutely.
John, take it away.
I really like the fact that there was no surprise. I felt that if you had one, that you're now conditioning fans for a big surprise at the end of War Games, at the end of every event, and I just think that that's a slippery slope.
Good call.
And I also felt like one of the things I liked about it was it did end with this feeling of, is that like, are we good? Right? Like, is this okay? Like, there's CM Punk next to Roman. Like, are we okay?
There was only one man really smiling ear to ear, and that was Paul Heyman. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But we're like looking at it, you're like, is someone going to turn on someone? And I love that uncertainty. I love that it went off the air with us not knowing, are we actually going off the air? Is this it? Because it made you want to tune into Raw and be like, okay,
right.
So what's next here? Like, if you leave with the question of, so what's next? You're good. Because then you're going to tune in to find out what's next. And guess what? Raw was fucking amazing. So
slaughtered. How do you fit that much amazement in 2 hours is beyond me. Those guys,
you know what? People who spend 2 hours with me ask the same question all the time. It's just when you're good, you're good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I spent 7-8 hours driving to Cleveland with you, and I could tell you after the first 15, I'm like, does he ever shut the fuck up or no? Like, is that
nope?
The stories, the road stories that this guy talks about.
Oh, I've got them though. I've got road stories, and I've got a wife who doesn't want to hear them. And so, if I get you in the car,
I'm the road wife. It's just the way it is, bro.
You're like, brother, I ever tell you about that time I was making towns and
yeah, I tell you this story about Bully Ray wanting to kick my ass. It's like, oh, all right,
Bully Ray. That's a good story. But no, look, I think it was a great finish. I loved that the subtlety of, if you saw Roman kind of put his hands out for Solo, like almost like give me a hug, like let's embrace, like let's put this behind us. And then Solo threw up the spike, and that's when Jay kicked him. And it was like, but if you look, and they didn't really like make a thing about it, but if you go back and you watch,
I have to go back and watch now.
They're like face to face, and if you notice, Roman puts his hands out, like
to shake hands.
No, like a hug, let's hug, or was it, come on, take your shot? I don't know. It was tough to tell. So
a great comparison was made by our dear good friend, Sam Roberts. I think it was Sam Roberts who said it, because I know his voice. And
I'm trying close, personal, longtime friend, Sam Roberts, or maybe it was someone else. Yeah.
What I'm saying is I saw it in passing in scrolling, but
was he wearing his wife's
no, it was not Dave LaGreca.
Okay, it was not Dave LaGreca then. Okay.
Solo Sikoa, played by Denzel Washington in Training Day, when he's looking around and he's just like, okay, all right. He knows he's about to just get got, right? Yep. It's all over, Solo. It is donezo. And now, like, bang, 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 fucking go to sleep, spear, everything. Boom, 1, 2, 3, it's over. And I'm thinking to myself now, this might have been the best thing to happen to Solo and the Bloodline 2.0, because now it's time to, if that was the clip being unloaded, it's time to reload, is what I'm saying. This is now time to possibly bring a new member of Bloodline 2.0, or kick a member out for kind of saying, you know what? You dropped the ball. You let me down. You're out of here, right? It could be a Tonga. It's not going to be Jacob Fatu.
Tonga Loa.
It could be Tonga Loa, right? It could be. It very well could be, where it's like, you were brought in here to take care of business, and you let me down. You know what I mean? Like, he might get rid of both Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa.
Or does he take the approach and say, the mistake that they had was they brought in somebody outside of the bloodline in Bronson Reed, and maybe that's an opportunity. Maybe that's an opportunity to introduce a new bloodline member.
You're right. And there's one in the chamber right now, I know for a fact, over at NXT. I don't know if you can shotgun him right there. I don't think so. But what I'm saying is it's going to happen. They have to reload. The story is not over. And then segue into Raw, where, again, so many moving parts happening on Raw this past Monday, where I wish I actually tuned in live because I caught up a lot because, you know, I'm a football guy. I watch Monday Night Football, fantasy football, all that bullshit. But I will say, between you and I, this New Day thing that they decided to pull out of the hat was unbelievably emotional. And it really got you in the feelings because you're sitting there. What you think is about to happen is you think what they wanted you to make believe it was going to happen, that the New Day was about to separate. And we're talking about Kofi and Woods, right? We thought, okay, it's it. They actually came out there and say, listen, you know, due to the fact that we've been, you know, clashing and butting
and they're
heads,
even like, this is not about you guys. This isn't about the fans.
This isn't about you guys. I'm so sorry and blah, blah, blah. Like, this is what has to happen. Out come Big E. Big E hasn't been on Raw television or SmackDown television in
almost 4 years.
Yeah,
almost
years.
4 years since he'd been on Raw or SmackDown.
It's insane because he's on all the pre-shows and stuff, and he does.
I didn't realize he got hurt that long ago. Like, that's insane. They're celebrating 10 years of the New Day, and for 4 of those, almost 4 years.
That's insane.
And for almost 4 of those 10 years, Big E wasn't even there.
So Big E comes out, does his shtick, says, "Look, guys, I'm not going to let it go down like this. I'm going to be your manager. Let's rock. Let's get the titles back. Like blah blah blah." And then all of a sudden,
swerve,
there goes the rug.
Yep.
There goes the rug right from under your feet. And Kofi and Woods get very resentful, get very like, hey, man, like you were able to come to our side and be our manager like years ago.
Yeah.
And you decided
now is when you want to do it. You want to wait till the end.
Right. And I think it's captivating stuff. My bold prediction, it's not a bold prediction, it's just a prediction. Big E has been cleared. I think there's going to be something to happen, whether it be a triple match or
it's got to be the Rumble. I think you need.
I said that on Twitter. I said he's going to come back and throw them both out.
That's what I'm saying. I think you need Woods and Kofi are going to be doing their thing, and I think they're in the Rumble, and I think maybe they're just beating down somebody or whatever it is, and doing some dastardly stuff, and then you want to go big. That's it.
I love it.
And he comes down. Big E is one of those guys I have been a fan of from the beginning. I was like, this dude's cool. Like, I like this guy. This is a big dude. Once he started having his own personality, I was just like, this is like my favorite guy. Then when I started seeing some of the things that he was doing, just outside of wrestling, with some like guy, he works with some people that I'm friendly with and stuff. I just started seeing what he was doing, and I was just like, this guy is just like, the dude's just like a good dude. Like, just he's funny, he's entertaining. He is just this like I just am such a fan of the human being. Right.
And by the way, he's a freak athlete.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then, so I'm just like, this guy's amazing. Then he becomes the world champion, where I'm just like, this is incredible that he became the world champion by being this version of Big E, not having to be the angry, tough guy or what. Like, he could just be this goofy, hip, swirling guy. And I just was such a big fan of him. And then he got injured and it just sucked, so bad. So I'm hoping he comes back. And then he writes this, did you read the article that he wrote?
Mm-mm.
You need to go find it. You need to read it. It came out the day of or the day before something, the 10-year anniversary. And he wrote a thing that kind of started as like it was supposed to be, hey, here's what the New Day is to me and, all that. And the dude just bared all about his childhood, about his mental health. And you just learned just the greatest lesson that you can about other human beings, which is just that you have no idea what's going on in somebody else's head, no matter how successful they seem, no matter how much you look at them and go, oh, dude, I wish I was that guy. And they're sitting there inside going, I wish I was anybody else. And it's like, man, so what I want to say is, from a character standpoint, I love Big E. I want him back in the ring. I think he's got more to do if he so chooses. If not, he's a Hall of Famer, right? And absolutely a Hall of Famer in my mind from what he was able to accomplish. But I feel like he's got so much more to do. And I also feel like he's the type of guy who can reach so many people outside of wrestling as well, just with who he is. And so I'm just a massive fan of the human being, from everything I've seen, everything I've heard from mutual friends, and then just a big fan of the character. And I just want to see Big E back and wherever he wants to be.
We are just scratching the surface of this potentially being something really, really big, right? And we're, no pun, but like it really is like a very cool storyline that they decided to kind of just shock us with, really, because it's like you knew they were gonna. To me, when you do the whole like 10-year anniversary, you feel like okay, like something is about to happen. Yeah, I was not expecting that,
I was not expecting Kofi to turn.
Right, dude, and I think I guess, by the way, WWE is now allowing people to stream on, cut screen reaction videos. Yeah, because I was watching a couple people watch this live because it just comes up in my feed.
They usually let it go for Raw. It's the premium live events that they have issues with,
which is weird. If you're all right, I'll just spin this way. If you're the owner of WWE, or you're the guy that's in charge of everything, and people are streaming your show, but it's not contributing to the ratings on USA, are you like, hey, man, you can't do that? Or, hey, this is actually more reach for my product.
I think it's more reach at this point, right? If people are seeing your stuff, like look what they're touting, 104 million views of Roman Reigns stopping CM Punk from exiting the cage.
That is insane.
First of all, not all of us can exit that cage that easily.
Josh sure shit can.
But no, but 104 million views of that. You think they sat there and just like, oh man, really wish like some more people would have watched this premium live event on Peacock. No, dude, it's because if you watch that, chances are you tuned into something else. And if you didn't tune into this one, you're going to continue to watch it through other means. And their YouTube, you think their YouTube isn't monetized out the ass? Of course it is.
Oh. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, when other people repurpose for their reactions or to their own gain.
Well, those
I feel like, not for nothing, but I feel like if you're Triple H or Nick Khan or anybody that's like the brass now, I feel like they're like, you know what, their 100,000 views they're about to get is because of our product, and it's not going to do anything detrimental to.
Yeah, I think it's a smart way to do it. I will say those. How can I put this? Those what's the term I'm looking for? Talentless motherfuckers. That's what I was going for. Who do their reaction videos. I talked about this on So Says Shernoff. It's the same freaking thing all the time. Whoa! Oh! It's the final boss. It's what? And I'm just like, you stupid, like. What are you doing? And then I guess I'm the schmuck because I'm doing a scripted satirical wrestling news show every month that doesn't get a 1/100th of the views, and this guy's just sitting there, just popping himself over the what? Oh my god! I can't believe it's the final boss. I can't believe it. Like
last night, this is a perfect example of like what you think will work and what actually works. Is a perfect example. Last night. Segue real quick to sports. Dak Prescott got interviewed by a local beat writer in Dallas, right? And there was a video attached to it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take the Dak part and cut it up and post it and put my thoughts out there." Dude, I'll say something about the Cowboys, and sometimes I'll get like 5,000 views. I'm like, "Nice, dude, nice little 5,000. All right, good job, Dave." I posted a video of Dak Prescott talking, and that's it. I woke up this morning and you would think my TikTok was on fire. It had 22,000 views. I got 100 new followers thinking that I'm all of a sudden this source of information. And I was like, this is great. So I know that there's a method to the madness, but the problem is some of these guys that are doing it are so corny.
And then WWE puts the one specific guy I'm talking about, WWE puts him on the opening of one of their like video packages. They're showing all these reaction people. Because they're like, I guess that makes them cool now that these marks are just reacting. Yeah. That's not a real reaction. It's not. The real reaction is, oh, nice. That's the real reaction. When you see The Rock come back, you can go, ooh, oh, damn. You don't go, what? Oh, oh, I can't. But no. It's like just shut. And then it's the same as the other people are at the arena. Just one more second. Allow me. At the arena, and they're filming themselves at the arena. They're not even showing anything. I got a green screen I can pop up and just put fans behind me and just be like, Why is anyone? And they're getting, and it's like 20,000 likes. Why? Why is anybody looking at this? Man.
Listen, I feel you, and I felt that one. I did, because it is kind of comical. Because you know what? You know my reaction to the War Games, like when it all kind of happened. I literally out loud during the match, there was a moment where I said, they're all surrounding Solo, right? I was like, out loud. I said, all right, who's gonna turn here? Who's turning here? That was it. Subtle, like just little
you
small.
Didn't go,
like,
whoa,
not
whoa.
Like, who's it gonna be?
The bloodline is surrounding Solo, guys. Guys,
chat, you hearing me, chat?
Come on, chat. What do we think, chat? Chat, what's going on, chat?
Yo, don't remember to like, subscribe, and fucking follow me everywhere I'm at.
Send me a bow or apple or muffin or whatever I don't know what the fuck they do. I don't get it. I guess I'm old. I don't understand any of this.
It is, bro.
But this is what gets people. Like, this is what gets the views. Right?
All right. And
mother.
I know. And now I'm sweating because I'm laughing so hard. But listen, before we get out of here, there's one more.
You know what really gets my goat? No, I just saw this sitting over here.
My daughter gave me a football yesterday. She bought it at her holiday bazaar. Look at this.
Mazel tov.
Yeah, right? She's like, Daddy, I got you a football because you love football. And I was like, I'm going to cry. Just give me a minute.
Like, yeah, I do.
It's like, matter of fact, if you could just take it downstairs.
And when she gave you that football, do you know what your reaction was? Whoa! A football for me?
What are you doing?
It's like, but it's small. What? Chat.
What you see in this chat?
Oh, God.
This whole segment's been gold. But before we get out of here,
cut it and put it on TikTok, and maybe we'll get 1 million.
Right. Can you imagine?
And just put any generic video, whatever it is. That's all you have to do. Okay, here's my test. Okay?
All right.
Fine. What's a video that you can put up there? I want us to react to it right now. We're not actually watching it. I don't even care. You find whatever video. Here's just the reaction. Whoa. Oh my God. Dude.
Stop. What?
How is this?
No.
Whoa.
Chat.
Oh my God. Are you seeing this? Are you?
What?
Oh my God.
No
this
way.
Is insane. This is insane. Wow. Why? What?
Oh,
why? Oh. Holy.
Oh my chat.
Now take that and put that with any video, and I want to see what happens.
Listen, that's a very, very good idea.
That's
very good idea. So anyway, before
why
we
was
get out
Batman here? What?
Yeah, listen, chat.
I don't even have that. Why is it here? Oh man.
Fucking Batman showed up. So the end of Raw, we saw a familiar face return as well. Yes. Your good friend, Mr. Drew McIntyre, kicked Sami Zayn right in the face. Very excited to see him back. Seems like he's got a little bit of vendetta. He went on socials, said like how sad or how quickly people forget. I think he was just kicking the shit out of people that teamed up with Punk. That's kind of the motive, I think. Is that I
love that he's like not over it.
No,
he shouldn't be, right?
No, he almost freaking was killed in eliminate or whatever it was.
Hell in a Cell. Man,
but,
you're really jonesing for Elimination Chamber, aren't you?
I am. You know what it is? I think I want to go watch the Shawn Michaels win today at some point. I'll go down to the studio, throw it on the old
greatest Survivor Series in the history of Survivor Series, according to Gipke.
Oh, no, not greatest Survivor Series, greatest pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view. He says nothing tops that at all. Not like WrestleMania 6 or 17 or some of these other massive WrestleMania. No. Survivor Series 02 is the greatest Survivor Series and pay-per-view of all time.
Maybe we can do like an ad-free shows watch along with Steve Gipke.
If you want to disagree with Gipke, I encourage you to go look at his Instagram page first before you say anything. Right? Before you get off the beaten path, go check out Mr. Small Size Gipke and see if you would like to say anything against him. Go nuts.
And then if you're like, I think I would, then go check out Dark STG because that'll scare the Jesus out of you.
You absolutely will. Listen, this has been a fun show, a fun wrestling hour. It's going to get better and better as we get into now. I think with Saturday night's main event coming up, Rumble, I think we're already in WrestleMania season. I think that's how big it is. So for the next
does Punk. He's pointing to the sign. It's not even up yet.
How funny was that? How fire was that promo? Like that was, dude. Like this is what I'm talking about, man. These guys, you got to let them cook. They're the chefs. Here's
I saw his hoodie too. I was like, man, I want the hoodie. I was like, but I won't wear it because it says CM Punk.
I think him doing that salute to service type hoodie is probably his best piece of merchandise I've ever seen.
It was really
like
cool.
That was awesome. I wish like you would think, like NFL, they do that. NFL, every team has their own, their own salute to service thing. I think every superstar should have a salute to service thing with their own names and shit and make it customizable. Fuck that. Listen, I'm a fucking money making whore at this point. You guys can all make money if you listen to me.
If we can't make money off of those who have served, what's this country all about?
NFL donates all proceeds to the Wounded Warrior and the Pat Tillman Foundation. So I'm sure there's a way that WWE can,
Thank you, Dave Sturchio, NFL spokesperson, joining us here.
Listen, I try to cape up for my boys in the NFL. Nice. But anyway, great show, great time, great everything around. Everybody, of course, thank you for watching on ad-free shows. Thank you for watching on MyFandom. Thank you for just tuning in week after week. It's going to get bigger and better. Check out our social media. You can find us. Our social medias are listed right under our TV screens right here. But you can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, and the old Instagram. I think it's all different, to be honest with you.
It's at the Wrestling Hour, or the Wrestling HR, and I think at the Wrestling Hour.
And at the Wrestling Human Resources. So for Dave Sturchio and Josh Shernoff, this has been another episode of That Said Show, the Wrestling Hour. We will see you guys next week. Bring back Batman real quick.
You know what gets my goat?
Good night, everybody.